All right, for today's video review, you're going to be taking a look at Transformers Age of the Primes Sideways. Of course, based on his Transformers Cybertron design, very faithfully. Now, this guy's part of a subline that's like based on Cybertron figures. There's right now just him and Excellion that is exclusive to Walmart, I believe. And yeah, this figure is fantastic. He is got a lot in common with the original figure, which I've never handled, so I'm only kind of going off of pictures here. But yeah, no, he's a lot of fun here. Now he does come with a Cyber Planet key here. This time the little Decepticon one, and it can plug into the back here, which doesn't, of course, activate anything. But if you take this piece off, because he does have some removable accessories, there's a few neat things here. Like he does have the little flip between Decepticon and Autobot logos here, which used to be activated by the key, but is now activated by this little like switch in the back. So if you line it up, you could kind of like, plug in the key a little bit and then push it in and flip that switch at the same time. That's cool. Also, these bits do come out to the side, which of course is not activated by the key any longer, but he can still do that. Now, unfortunately, unlike the original toy, these actually can't really be out in vehicle mode because they just bump into the things on the side here and it can't really plug in how it's supposed to. So you do kind of have to leave these collapsed. Whereas I believe the original toy, you could actually activate those in alt mode, but whatever. That's not too big a deal there, to me at least. But yeah, he looks super faithful in his little weird Cybertronian jet mode here, I guess Planet X jet mode. I don't know. The story with Sideways and Transformers Cybertron was always very weird, or Noise Maze, I guess if you want to call him, from Galaxy Force. But either way, this character, and yeah, no, it's a pretty faithful recreation of this jet mode. I mean, he transforms mostly the same. There's just like a couple bits that are a little bit different, but yeah, looks pretty good. In terms of comparisons in this mode, here he is with Kingdom Sideswipe, just for that standard one there. Here he is with a couple more updated Cybertron figures with Excellion and Override there, so you can see what the three of them look like together. I feel like that's looking pretty cool. And then I don't, like I said, I don't have the original Cybertron Sideways, but here he is with Armada Sideways, who I don't know. I kind of consider the two of them to be different characters because their vibes are so different. And apparently we're supposed to be getting a Voyager of him sometime next year. I'm hoping that it's a Voyager insofar that it's basically a deluxe, but, the extra price point goes into doing, Rook and Crosswise, but whatever, that's neither here nor there for this video. And then I guess last thing for comparison is we can kind of look at the keys here with this previous one that we got with Excellion. And then I don't have one of the original Decepticon keys, but here he is with an Autobot key. So you can see how much smaller they are. But yeah, no, you can easily just leave it right there, or leave it off to the side, do whatever you want with it. I just tend to leave it attached. But yeah, to get onto transformation, now he does have a bit of parts forming where the original one didn't. Like this bit obviously comes off, whereas the original one was attached to the arm. I don't mind that really. And the wings also come off, whereas they were originally attached to the legs. They all become his weapons in robot mode, so I don't really mind it all that much, but might bother some people. But other than that, he does transform like fairly similarly to the original one, and so far that like all the parts go to the same place. But yeah, first thing you want to do is take the toes, just kind of untab them from here, and then the legs here will tab into this piece, and you kind of bring it down at the knee, and then flip open the toe and heel there. Just do the same thing on the other side here. And then we take this entire body section with this black piece included, that's important, and rotate that down so that you have the clearance to take the arms here, and they will untab from each other and just swing out to the side just like that. And then what you want to do is take this black piece, which is actually on a separate hinge, so you kind of have to like hinge it back up. And it kind of compresses the body here a little bit too. Just have that piece sit back up in there to fill out the body. Then you can bring down the arms. You want to rotate them 180 degrees and then rotate the hands there. Just like that. Take these two panels, they just hinge down and kind of fold down as a cape. And then much like the original, you take the cockpit section, open it up, then the head will double hinge out, and you do kind of have to rotate it around to put it into alt mode because it makes the fins sit just right to like sit in those little slots. But you want to double hinge that down until it kind of clicks into place, rotate the head around, and then close this panel back up. And there we have Sideways in his robot mode. And yeah, that is a fairly accurate looking toy. And like I said, yeah, pretty much all of the parts go into the same place. Like, honestly, you know, if you're not looking at them side by side, you'd be hard pressed to tell that this isn't the original. Like, I mean, obviously you could tell just from like modern design sensibilities and stuff like that, but pretty much the design is unchanged. The only thing that's different is really just like what joints exist in what places. Like his hips are now universal joints instead of ball joints, that kind of thing. But yeah, no, he looks fantastic in terms of articulation. The head is on a swivel here. You can kind of use that panel a little bit to like make him look down. I guess you could, I don't know, have him look up, but I don't know, it looks a little ugly on that panel. Mostly I leave that locked into place. The shoulders here are on swivels and then a hinge out to the side. It's got a bicep swivel, about 90 degrees of bend at the elbow, a wrist swivel, which is nice, a waist joint. Hips are on universal joints, which can go forward and back and out to the side. He can really do a very high kick forward. He's got a thigh swivel, a fairly deep knee bend because of how it folds up for transformation, and then the ankles are on tilts here, and then you can kind of tilt them forward and back a little bit there. But yeah, no, pretty good. And then you can kind of adjust these pieces to get out of the way. Now, obviously, for his weapons, I mean, on the original toy, this was just a straight up attached to one of his arms, so you can just kind of leave it there. I mean, it's got a fold out peg here, and then you can peg it onto his left arm here so that it's most accurate to how the original toy was, but you can put it on either side. And then the swords here, you can give him the classic like double wing sword thing there, and that looks pretty cool. And or you could just, you know, give him one in each hand if you want, or if you want to store them, they do pretty much store exactly where they folded onto the legs in the like where it was in the original toy. So just peg on just like that, and that's a pretty good look there. And yeah, I mean, there's really not a whole lot to say about him. He's a fairly simple figure, all things considered, since he's based on that Cybertron design. I'm just thrilled with like pretty much how accurate a representation this is of the character. Like, it may seem a little bit boring in concept to just get figures that are basically redos of old figures with like new joints and stuff like that, but some of them, that's just kind of what I want. And obviously you can like fold these out to the side. He doesn't have the gimmick anymore, which doesn't really bother me. And yes, these are opaque orange plastic rather than clear plastic, just because this guy doesn't actually have any other clear plastic on him, so they just put it on the same tooling for, you know, all the other orange parts, and that might bother some people. It doesn't really bother me, but either way, yeah, I think he looks pretty cool. In terms of comparisons in this mode, here he is again with Kingdom Sideswipe, so you can see, you know, a little taller than average deluxe there, but pretty much on par with modern figures. Here he is again with Excellion and Override, just so you can see what the three of them look like together. Some really good, just classic updates to these Cybertron figures. It helps so much that the like media of the Transformers Cybertron cartoon was so based heavily on the toys, because that way when you're doing an accurate representation of new toys of them, they kind of end up being fairly toy accurate as well, because they were accurate to begin with, just some of them had kind of clunky joints and were like, you know, like kind of weighed down by gimmicks and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know, I like these new guys so far. And then just for posterity's sake, here he is again with with Armada Sideways. So again, I kind of consider them different characters. You could have him be Sideways, him be Noise Maze or whatever, but yeah, they're just very different characters in my mind. But yeah, no, he's a really, really fun toy. And yeah, like I said, not a whole lot actually to say about him. He's just fairly accurate to the original toy, just a little bit more modern in terms of his design sensibilities, which, you know, might rub some people the wrong way with lack of gimmicks and stuff like that. But for me, this is definitely the one I would prefer. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to him. If you enjoy my videos, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. I do reviews every Tuesday and Thursday. Sorry I missed Tuesday this week. I just completely, you know, I was getting back from vacation and I was busy with other stuff and I just completely forgot to record a video. So Whatever, you win some, you lose some. But without further ado, here we have Transformers Age of the Primes Cybertron Sideways.